way back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Google, play Surulere by Wizkid. Hey, Lopsy, first one in. How you doing? I hope you're enjoying. Yes. Okay. I was trying Google again. So, text for me. I see you, sir. Mad respect. All right, cool. So just so we don't waste time, I will bring my guest back in right now, and then I'm sure everyone will join us as we go on. Um, I cannot see my guest in here. Dayo, please, if you're online, please could you request? For some reasons I can't. Okay, yeah, I found you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying. I'm just waiting for my guest to join. Yes, sir.
So, sorry, for some reason my AirPods have lost.
They've, they've lost connectivity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just...
All right, guys. Please, whilst my guest is trying to set that up, please share this story. It'll be criminal to keep this to yourself. You don't know who might need to hear this at this time. So please share in your sphere of influence. Let them join up. The first part of this story is already on my IG story. And ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget, check out at romanticgenie.com, at romanticgenie. That's their handle. Please, romanticgenie.com. There are bespoke gifts and experience packaging concierge. So, if you have a creative block on what to buy your loved one this time around, they will sort that out for you. They give you ideas, they give you options, they source, they deliver, the whole shebang. And guess what? Because you're on here, if you go on there and you go through the process, you can use the discount code, just the Hustle series, and you have a 20% or 25% discount, some huge discount there. So please check them out. All right, I'm going to search for my okay, I'm going to search for, okay, good. All right. I'm trying to connect back to my guest. All right.
For some reason, the thing is not working, but I don't know if
but we can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. So, we were just about the part where you were going into your business. You were answering the questions of those people, and you alluded to the wonderful support of the woman in your life, who kind of understood and agreed for you to pursue that, because I know that if she gave you a hard time for you to be doing music without bringing money home.
It wasn't plain sailing, but
I know. Yeah, because look, we're all real here. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can go after your dream. Doesn't mean that tomorrow, how are we going to survive tomorrow?
Absolutely. That was that always came into the. You always came into the
into the equation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's very also important that once you don't take the make out of it while you're chasing your dream, and then things will generally work out along the way.
Okay, so now you've gone to a church, and then this message has kind of redirected you into like, hang on a minute, something brought me to this country. I've got a talent, and now you've had that conversation with your woman. This is what we want to do. She said yes, but yes with caution. Let's put that, yes with caution. What was that journey like at the early stages? Because I know for sure that there are a whole lot of people on this platform or listening to it now and will listen to it then, people are also caught up in that zone of life where I know I've got a talent. I know I can do this, but survival is also threatening that gift. Now, what was your early days? How did it look? Especially, of course, you were expecting a second born and the money wasn't coming in like that.
So the I'm trying to maybe speed things up a little bit here in the sense that
Yes.
I quickly identified that talent wasn't enough.
Hmm.
So you can have all the talent in the world, you know, but I quickly identified that talent wasn't enough.
Hmm.
So I'll tell you. So if you look at my first degree in the UK, that's why it's a combined honors,
Yeah.
business and media, multimedia tech. So growing up, I wanted to study music. So when I wanted to go back to uni, I've always thought in my head that I'll go and study uni, study music. I'm going to study classical music or study clinical, blah 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 blah. But being able to start that business along the line made me quickly realize that you need a lot more than just knowing music.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying in essence is talent is not enough. So you might have the talent, but there's some things that brings the talent into play. The Bible says that the man's gift will make room for him and make him stand before kings.
Yeah.
Your gift can make you get in front of a king, but your gift doesn't keep you in front of the king.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Word.
So you see a lot of people get the OBE, right? Their gifts gets them to the front of the queen. They get badge, OBE, the queen gives them, touches them, bam, they go. That's it. Done. That's a gift. Yeah. But there's some people that the queen will say, you know
Hmm.
what? I want you to be special advisor to this, because it's more than the gift. So there's the personality, there's the attitude, there's so many things that come into it. So I quickly found out that music is not. I'm not going to become a millionaire by playing uh, keyboard alone or doing this or doing that. I realized quickly that I needed something bigger. So while music was a talent, I knew I needed to become a businessman.
Hmm. Hmm. Say it again.
I
Hmm.
knew I needed to understand the business side of things. And coming from a chemistry background, business was never anything that you do in actually, chemistry, you call us a course then. We did
Yes.
physics, chemistry, biology, agric, further maths, and all those things. So business was never anything. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to go and do business and multimedia. Now the
Hmm.
multimedia side of things was because I quickly understood that music is wide. So rather than boxing myself into the studying music, I decided to study media because
Hmm.
in media,
Yeah.
music
There's
is in
music.
media. So and that was it for me. So I was quickly able to identify those things and move with it. It's about moving with the times.
Yeah.
Moving with the times. This period that we've done and stuff, I've been able to also try and see other things I can move to, which still encompass
Yeah.
what I do as a person.
Hmm.
So it's not
Hmm.
it's not just it's not just doing music, play keyboard, play and
Yeah.
mix behind the stuff. So it's understanding that even though you're in that valley, if you're in that valley, you need things to help you climb up the mountain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you need a sickle, and you need to dig to be able to climb up, find a sickle. If you
Hmm.
need if there's someone who you need to throw a rope to pull you up, throw the rope to. Just identify those things that when you've got a gift for something, identify the things that would make you a better person with the talents that you've got.
Interesting. And that ties nicely to my next question. So because I know everybody's on the edge of, okay, when are we going to start talking of Davido and all of this very lovely, interesting stuff? So for me, even if the network was to shut down now, I would go to bed with my two eyes closed, because the
Mm.
nuggets you've dropped, the bigger lessons of what we'll learn is in the story you've shared up until now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other side of your story is just going to shine your doggedness and the product of your resilience and excellence in what you do. So thank you for taking time to take us through all of that. So
Mm.
my next question is, now you've been raising all of these things, you've been savvy enough to understand that, why not learn about the entities, everything that surrounds music, which is what you want to do, and the business side of it. What was your first experience? If you were to take us through the very first biggest, your break, let's put it that way, what you consider your break event, which you were told to come work on. What was it, and what was the build up like, and what was the experience like? If you just take us through that, and then we'll go into the very lovely
So,
stuff you do.
uh, I, I must have been 19 when I did Benson and Ages with Shina Peters.
Wow.
I don't know if anybody remembers Benson and Ages those days.
I
It used to
know,
be
but
at TBS.
I know, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. That's one of the biggest things that you can say you done. So what happened was, because at a young age, I already done something like that. When I decided to go into sound, I moved from just doing music and go into live sound and stuff. Um, the big things um, didn't really like bother me like that, because I felt okay. I can do this thing. I can do this thing. So I was never looking at this was my biggest show
Okay.
or this was not my biggest show. But when it comes to contacts, I can say the two biggest shows I've done when it came to contacts. One was Dietrich Haddon.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Funny thing part of it is I still haven't gotten paid for the gig till today. So now why I choose Dietrich Haddon was on the gospel side of things. That was when people like took note and said, okay, hold on, who is this guy? You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then it also got me one of my biggest clients because we used their venue for
Okay.
the Dietrich Haddon show, and they now booked Dietrich Haddon for the next day.
Hmm.
Then I said, oh, can you keep your stuff for the next day? I'm like, okay, no worries. Okay, I'll just charge you this and like blah blah blah. So when I charged them, and when I charged them, did a show. I remember Dietrich and I were hanging out. Someone I just met for the first day and blah blah blah. And the next thing, the head of the sound guy called me about 3 or 4 days later, and he ended up becoming my accountant. Funny enough, he called me about
Wow.
3 or 4 days later and was like, Oga said, can you quote for the 31st service? I'm
Wow.
like, okay, yeah, why not? I can call it. Yeah. So I sent him the quote, and the guy was like, that they want for 31st service. I said, yeah, that's the quote. The guy was like, am I sure? I said, yes. I'm like, okay. So he comes back to tell me that apparently that's like 30% of how much they normally pay
Wow.
person who's been doing it before. So short story short, or whatever how they say it. I've been with them for over 12 years now.
Wow.
Um, they're one of my biggest clients. That's on the gospel side of things,
Yeah.
and that obviously that opened other doors. Who come to black on black racism
Yeah.
in a bit, but it opened doors on its own. But when it comes to the Afrobeat guys, it's a very funny story. That's why I said my stories are very funny.
I know.
So I was meant to do a Two-Face gig, Two-Face Idibia, and the band. So Two-Face was meant to do a show in London, so he couldn't afford to bring, or the promoter couldn't afford to bring his band with him from Nigeria. So the promoter now said he has a band in the UK that he can use, and he normally uses the band anyway when he travels. It's a band he knows, but normally he would want to rehearse with them. So the band, I work with the band, I service the band, do their gigs and stuff. So then I said, okay, Ross, we've got this gig with Two-Face or at O2. Would you come and help us mix and supply the backlines and stuff and all of that? Why not? Okay. So went to a couple of meetings. And then along the line, Two-Face now got a very big job in Nigeria 2 days before the show in the UK.
Okay.
Meaning he couldn't come in a week before to rehearse with the band.
Yeah.
And the condition of him doing the show in Nigeria was if the company in Nigeria, I think it was one of the beer companies or something, would pay for his band to come to London with him for his show.
Wow.
Unfortunately, they now cancelled the UK band. Now that they cancelled the UK band, but because it was coming from a band from Nigeria, the band didn't have anything. So I still had to supply the band was coming with and then mix the show. Now, there's a guy I've been chasing, a promoter, a Afrobeat promoter I've been chasing to do his gigs for him for about 2 years prior. And I was like, don't worry, I have somebody that does my show. He's one of the biggest promoters to come out of Nigeria. So Kokoba. So people know Kokoba. So when I did Two-Face's show, I mixed Two-Face's show. And even the white guys in the O2 were like, dude, where did you come from? That this is the best Afrobeat they've ever heard in the building and blah, blah, blah. I never knew that the Kokoba guy was in the building.
Wow.
So he now comes down from the top to look at who is the person that mixed Two-Face. Two-Face is standing like this, comes down and then sees his name. It's okay. we need to talk, and that was it. So it was time and chance.
Wow.
And then after that, name any Afrobeat artist that ever stepped their foot in the UK for the last 10 years.
Wow.
Mixed their show. So.
Wow.
I wouldn't say that. So they were not like massively big shows like that, but there were shows that made the long-lasting impact in my journey. So that's how I can describe those two.
That for me just shows that, and I think there's a thread between your story, and it's that either it's talent with your resilience has been making way, because going back to the beginning of your story, music literally singled you out and brought you into this country. You left it for a bit, you came back to it, and now your gig or your openings are based on you just doing what you're doing, almost like David just doing what he's doing, and then who's in between this.
It was so for people who are listening, who understand music and understand sound, everything was a journey. So me playing keyboards, I play about 7 to 8 instruments. Generally keyboards, drums, bass, guitar, trumpet, sax, and all those things. I play a lot of instruments. So it was a journey for me, which I didn't know. So that's why sometimes I say I don't look back. I'm just looking forward in the sense that everything I'm doing, I believe that God has a plan for me. And that's just me. That's the way I think. That anything I'm going through, God has a plan for me. So while I was doing all that, what I didn't understand was that I was being prepared for that particular. So what makes me different when I mix? Why a lot of people understand when I mix is I don't mix as a sound engineer.
You mixed
I'm
as
not.
an instrumentalist.
I'm mixing like an MD.
Hmm.
So I go into the mind of the music director and be like, okay, what does the music director want his band or his choir to sound like? Because I've been there. Yeah, because I've been there, I kind of understand where
Yes.
that person wants to feel like. I kind of understand the mood. If it's a worship environment, I've been a worship MD. I understand what it is. I've produced. So I'm mixing, and that's that's the kind of let me call it the garment I put on. As in, I put on
Yeah.
I become the MD as soon as I get behind the desk. So it was all that process. If a keyboardist is playing
Wow.
his keyboards and it tells me, oh, my keyboard sounds something. I understand what he's saying because I've been there.
Wow. So. Oh my God, your story is again. You're dropping these things in a way that if everything cuts off now, you've you've rounded it up in a beautiful way. And what's coming out to me is all things are working together for your good because you've been in those shoes, so like you said, you understand what the expectations are, or you understand how a kick drum should actually sound, or how a trumpet should sound, both in
Yep,
production, live production, or post production, and then you can mix from that. And that for me is a USP, a unique selling point that you cannot even buy, because if you don't have that experience, you don't have it.
absolutely.
Wow.
You can buy. So I said to you guys, I know there are a couple of guys who are sound engineers who are watching here, and I
Hmm.
said to them when I was doing my own shows is that mixing is a combination of science and art.
Hmm.
You can teach the science, you can't teach the art.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's
Wow.
yes.
So now we know the ingredients of your success, because you've played Shina Peters, you've gone from Shina some of the ingredients, just some.
Oh, okay. I was about to tell
Yeah.
you that that's not it. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna let you get there now. But just to say that for everybody watching, I think what this story is saying is whatever your experience is today or has ended you up to the point where you are watching today, you just don't know, somewhere in future all of those things are going to pay you forward. They're going to all come together to build. So I'm going to let you go into exactly what the ingredients of your success is, and then we'll talk about your low points in business. And of course, I know you want to say all this black on black thing, so we'll go into that real quick. But take us into
I've,
that
I've,
that
I've,
room of ingredients.
I
That
have only
room
one
of
ingredient.
ingredients. Yes.
I have only one ingredient. Just one.
Hmm.
You never have a second opportunity to make the first impression.
Wow. Wow. So you got to get it right the first time, always.
As in, yes, you just have to get it right. I'm gonna share a story of something happened yesterday. I did a
Yes.
gig yesterday. First time with Runtown.
Okay. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Runtown. So the guy who introduced me to the gig and blah blah blah, I said to him, I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. He was like, oh, it's just a small gig. It's just a small gig. I said, no, it's a small
Hmm.
gig to you, but it's not to me. I've never worked with him before, and
Hmm.
I'm walking out. I'm walking out of that room. I want him to take my number. That's the way I
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
I walk into that room. I'm stepping out of the room. I want him to take my number.
Hmm.
The guy was like, okay. So at the end of the gig yesterday, next thing we finished it was on Instagram on Diesel. Diesel, if you go to Diesel Fragrances, it
Yeah.
might still be on the IGTV. We finished the gig, was a live gig. He comes to me, he says, boss, can you travel?
Wow.
That was the first thing he said to me. He said, boss, can you travel? I said, depends on how much you're paying me. So, so for me, every artist I've worked with, I make sure I leave that impression on them. If something
Hmm.
goes right, I want you to know that I, Timmy Dayo, was responsible for making that thing go right for you.
So if you want it to go right again tomorrow, then you call me. So that's my single ingredient.
Now, wow, wow. As simple as it is, and some people drop nuggets sometimes. They say words, and then you appreciate the word, but with the story, there's still a bit of gap somewhere here. And with your story, it syncs so perfectly because even right from Surulere in Lagos at that young age, the things that have set you apart has always been linked to your craft and doing it so well to the point that they say it's almost like you've been headhunted all through your life, kind of thing. Now, I've also had the opportunity, and this is me going into some of your relationships with a lot of these big stars. So today you sit on I call you retainer, but you're the front of house engineer for Tiwa Savage, Burna Boy, Davido. I think I must have seen a video where I'm not sure if it was you and Tiwa that was talking about, just general sounds and all of that. And I know that stars can be politically correct. They want to say the right things. But what I saw in that conversation was a genuine conviction of the value you bring to her performances, i.e. her sounds. Now,
Should I tell you a joke? Should I tell you a joke about that interview?
Yeah.
It wasn't even planned.
Wow.
Because she wasn't meant to come on that day. She was meant to come on the Monday.
Okay.
So I'd spoken to her that, you're coming on Monday, blah, 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 and da. But what happened was, I said on the 4th. She thought on the 1st.
Okay, that sounds familiar, but yeah.
So it was actually one of planned.
Wow.
Planned. Because somebody else was meant to come on. I even had other things I was doing. I just went on live, and the next thing I just saw Tiwa Savage wants to join y'all. She just came on.
Wow.
Wow.
Because I was listening and I saw how, of course, she appreciates sound, the efficacy of it. But more importantly, I saw, and I'm sure some people might have seen that video, I saw genuine, it wasn't convictions that you were trying to paint on her to reflect back at you. It was genuine convictions of the value. And my question is, maybe the question in the minds of people, because again, when people see this big thing, oh my God, he's talking to Tiwa and all of this. And then I think the connection point is, where did that relationship start for you? And what has been, beyond what you've said to us already of making that first impression, how have you been able to continue to cultivate this relationship after that first time? Because some people could hit the first time and then get very relaxed. So take us through how your paths crossed, and then of course how you continue to manage this relationship with these stars who have very big egos, and maybe they're not even the problem, is the people that surround them, that kind of thing.
So with Tiwa, I met Tiwa, was it? I can't remember the year, but it was one gig she did at Brixton Academy with I think it was Davido. So I did the show with Davido and Tiwa that did that gig. I met her then, and because for me, when artists have a show, I just don't turn up to their shows. I turn up to their rehearsals. I turn up to their rehearsals because on the show day, everybody's eyes is closed.
I know.
Yeah. So rehearsal is where you get to know the person. Rehearsal is when you get to, be able to flow with the person and stuff and all that. Rehearsal is where you get to know the kind of person that they are. The things that you see outside is totally different from the things that you see inside. So I always start in the rehearsal. So the first time I went to the rehearsal, we met, we talked, and blah, blah, blah. And that was it. So we did that gig. Then she was going to have a headline gig again. And then they were having some issues with the promoter and blah, blah, blah. And the promoter said, oh, it's Dayo that's doing the sound. And she was like, oh, Dayo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think I know him. So she now called the guy who used to play with her then that, can I have Dayo's number? I will never forget. She must have called me at like a minute to midnight. But I just remember that when I saw the number from Nigeria, he ended up with 9999999. I'm like, who is this? I pick up and she goes, "Hi, Mr. Dayo. This is Tiwa Savage." Okay. So she did that gig and I saved the number. So this is me. This is the business side of me. We never did another gig again. Once in a while, send text messages, happy birthday, happy Christmas, happy New Year, you know, and that was it. So she did another gig in the, she's come from one or two other gigs, then just a small gig, you see, hey, what's up, high five, so that she did her own headline gig, first headline gig that she did. It's funny, the guy who was a keyboardist for the first show logged in just now. So it's just so funny. It just came on. So the last gig she did in the UK, I think she must have come. No, she came for a Wizkid show. She came for a Wizkid show that I also mixed. I did mix Wizkid's one. And she came for the show, and that's one Wizkid did at the O2. So after that, she said, you know what? She wants to do her own show, and that she wants it to just be as perfect as Wizkid's one. I said, listen, Wizkid's one wasn't as perfect as I wanted it to be because there were so many bureaucracies around getting to, you know. But if you want me to run your show for you, let's talk. I'll see you at home on Monday. I went to her place, sat down, had a conversation. This is what I want you to do. This is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to do it. Blah, 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 blah. When next year in London, let me know. I'll take you somewhere. You need to do your ears. We need to go and get you. You know, so I started planning things for her, planned the show for her. And the same thing Rontown said. She just said, Mr. D, we're traveling now. I can't do show now and sound like this. And then I go to another show and I'm sounding and that was it. So, and started traveling since then.
Wow. Now, the organic question to ask you would be to say that what's your lowest point in business and all of that. But I'm going to take a rain check on that for now, which we'll talk about towards the end. Again, just in the spirit of balance. But the truth is, and this is me being frank, you're living a fantasy life that a whole lot of people on this platform or somebody else will want to have. You know, I know somebody for free who's very close that if Tiwa should call out tonight, she won't sleep for the next 2 days. I know. Well, here you are, you know, just around. And again, this is your gift that has brought you to this point. Now, how have you been able to handle, of course, with the kind of success you have, you know, different commentaries as in, Shebi is just sound. Shebi is just music. What's hard there? You know, what is he even doing? Have you been able to handle, because I know that you've been mainstream for no less than 10 years, as in top gig, top notch. Again, we can talk about the experience, which we have a lot of Nigerian followers on this platform, which I know is big to them, and you've been hugely involved in all of that. But for me, I think the thread line is you give the right impression and you follow it up. You don't just talk. You do the talk and all of that. But how have you been able to deal with, I won't call it corporate jealousy, or I wouldn't use a word like that, but I'm just trying to form competition and people who try to kind of demean what you bring to the table in the bid of trying to get a seat on the table you sit on. I don't know if you've experienced that and how you've been able to deal with that.
I don't think I've experienced it.
Fantastic.
And I won't say I've not experienced it. It's that I don't walk into a room when I'm not welcomed. So, if a man builds a castle, he deserves to be called king.
Absolutely.
So I build my own castles. So I build my own castle so that wherever I go to, I'm called king. Right. One of my tricks, or one of my things, is that I don't chase artists. because not every artist has a long lifespan. Okay, like you can say Tiwa's been there for like 10 years, but in that same space, I've done people like Inyanya. I've done the Bunch, you know, the Olami days. They might be having a quiet time now. So if they have a quiet time, you have a quiet time. So I don't chase artists, but I chase the people that make the artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you? Is this a product of your going to school to learn business and media?
Absolutely. So a lot of people, what they want to do is they want to, I want to mix for Tiwa Savage. I want to mix for blah blah blah. But the moment you're chasing those artists, you realize that a lot of other artists will walk past you while you're chasing. Most of the artists I've worked with, it's not like, there's a lot of people that they say, call this guy, you know, this is the guy, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you realize that even the artists, once they have you, they don't want to lose you.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they don't want somebody else to call you.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Tiwa telling Toke one day, and she was introducing me to Toke Makiwa, and she was telling Toke, and she was like, "Oh, that's my sound engineer." Although I know a lot of people are trying to steal him from me. You know that kind of thing. I'm thinking,
I'm going nowhere.
No, not be that. I'm for everybody. Oh. You know, So at the end of the day, it's very important that you understand your industry. There are some artists that, you can have that one-on-one relationship with them, you know, and even if though you have that relationship with them, never take it for granted.
Absolutely.
You know, never take it for granted. Don't overstep your bounds. Know when to step out of the room. Know when you're not invited. Know when you need to walk out. You know, just always business oriented. That is where the issue here is. You know, because you're a sound engineer, you know, you walk into the room. It's mixer. You turn it off. You turn. But you realize that most of your conversations that you end up having sometimes has nothing to do with turning on the mixer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're dead right. I will confess this to you, Dayo. As way back as 2 years ago, I wanted to have this conversation with you, and all that was in my mind was, I just need to understand how this all started. I just need a link into how it all started, so I can hit into that and then hit on. And this evening is just coming together of all of those 2 years. I know you've done, I think you were telling me something about Snatch then and all of these things. How do you, and this is my second to the last question, because again, we're almost nearing 2 hours, but your story is just beautiful, beautiful. How do you bat away complacency, which is, you know, now you walk in your space, you have a name. You're not bidding for work. People are headhunting you. And for some people, with that comes a bit of, okay, I'm there now. How do you bat off? Because I know you also do a lot around mentoring, around training, which to some people will think that that's strange, because normally what you get is, if you have your castle, you buy all the estates around the castle and just own it. So how do you deal with complacency of like, Dayo, you need to get better, or I've arrived, so I only need to just sit where I am. How do you deal with that? Just so we begin to round up this.
I've learned to deal with complacency from when I was a teenager. Yeah, and it goes back to where I was coming from.
Yeah.
So the church I grew up with, by the time I was born, the church was already waxing albums. So if you go back to my church, the first album that was waxed in my church was 1979. Right? 1979. Okay, so now they were the ones that were, my church was once reigning with the Good Women Choir. of those days. So
Yeah,
if you heard it's okay Mimo and the Ibukun rules and stuff
yes,
and all that. But as I grew up, there was a generation that was in between the people who started
yeah.
and me. So there was a generation in between them.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could hear from that generation was complaining about the people who are top of them.
Yeah,
That they're old school now. They're old school now. They're old school now. They're old school now. So for me, I learned quickly that by the time that generation were calling the ones before them old school, by the time my generation was getting close to them, we were seeing them as old school.
yes, yes.
So I learned quickly in life that while you're sitting down, there are 10 generations behind you coming.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that quickly. As in, when I mean quickly, I learned it quickly. So for me, I never see my competitors as wanting to take my job. I see my competitors as chasing me to get better.
Wow, that's a perspective.
So staying at home, even during this lockdown, I was doing sound and mind, training people.
Yeah.
But some people know that there was a day I did a 5-day conference, and the conference was in America. I did a 5-day conference. Conference was in America. So it starts at around 5 o'clock in the evening and finishes at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
For 5 days. And I'll do that, and I'll still come and do sound on mind in the evening. And I'm doing, so sometimes I'll do sound on mind, log off. As I'm logging off, I'm going on to go and join the conference and stuff and like that. So I've learned that if you stop learning, if you stop learning, the generation behind you will catch up with you.
Wow.
They will catch up with you big time. So I mix up with everybody. Some of the good guys, my friends in the industry, I have people who are 20 something year old. I have the 30-year-old. So you know what is going on in that generation. You know what, even when you want to talk about gear, knowing gear, who knows gear is more than 20-year-olds. So
True.
you want to make sure that you're friends with those people, just talking gear. Have you heard about this gear? Have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And stuff like that. So I realized that complacency means that the moment I become complacent means that I don't have to work anymore.
Wow.
But as long as I still want to work, I cannot afford to be complacent.
Okay. So I'm gonna bowl two questions in so that we can begin to wrap, because I know you're quite busy and I'm so appreciative of the time you've given us today. So how do you manage all of this? Because I know, you're a professional, you're a businessman, you're a husband, you're a father, all of those important, beautiful things in your life. How do you juggle it together? That's one. And two, just from the sake of balance, what are because you were saying earlier about the black on black thing, I just wanted you to talk about what do you face on a daily basis in terms of the lows of this job? Because we've spent time talking about the highs and the great things you're doing, but you also face lows every day, and that's why you wake up every day and try to be creative. So
I think for me, the only lows I get from this job is when people don't pay you. Right? Yeah, and you'll be surprised the kind of people who tend to owe you money. They're there. If I start calling names, some people no, Jesus will come back tomorrow. Yeah, you get that low. Then you get the low, which I say the black on black crime is sometimes I was watching a movie a couple of days ago. The Banker is on Apple Plus.
okay.
It's based on a true life story. I started watching the movie and I stopped it. I called my son. I said, "Come on, sit down. We need to watch this movie together." It's about some two black guys who were buying banks in America in the 60s, I think. And then they knew they couldn't buy the bank because nobody would sell the building to them.
Yeah.
So they had to confront a white man who was a builder just to front a white man as a builder too, and the only difference was that they were fronting a white man to to white people.
Yeah.
Right, you understand? For me, is I've had issues in trying to convince black people that I can do a white man's job.
Wow.
That's the biggest. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I never experienced it in the secular industry. It's more in church. Not more in church, only in church.
Where the grace covers everything.
I've never experienced it. I've had instances of where I remember the band's last concert at Brixton Academy. I was pitched against a big white company to bid for a job with Life Nation.
Okay.
And I bid for the job with Life Nation, and Life Nation spoke to the band. The band said they want me, and that was the end of it. I've never experienced that in the secular industry. I've experienced more in the church, where they believe that the white man can do the job better. I've had a church tell me that they won't give me a job because if the job goes wrong, they can't take me to court.
Wow.
So they rather give it to a white man. So so that I'll say that's the. And then when it comes to people owing you money, I've got more churches owing me money than individuals, or than this. I've got more churches owing me money. And the question for me is, if it was a Caucasian mate of mine who issued your invoice, you pay it within the 30-day.
Absolutely.
Within the 30-day space and stuff and all that, So, but unfortunately, that's I would say that's the low. But for me, I'm one of the lucky people on earth who does what they enjoy doing as a job.
Truly lucky.
Right? So I don't need to be motivated to get up in the morning to go to work. So the second question, which was your first question, is how do I balance it out? Sacrifices. Sometimes some things give. Some things give. I feel family comes first.
True.
Family comes first. Then work. So that's in just that way. But also understand that work also has to lead to family coming first.
Absolutely.
So
because part of the reason I was asking that is for people like you who are lucky to do what they enjoy, then therein comes a problem, not a problem of defining that silo, that fence begins to blur because you're doing what you enjoy. So
let me explain that. So what now happens along the line? You see, that's why I say to people, first thing I said is get yourself a mentor and get yourself a sponsor. The unlucky thing I ever had was I never had both. So a lot of the things I ended up doing learning by myself, making mistakes by myself. So when you understand that, to keep a family sane, to keep your family going, to keep everything going, cheap children are not cheap, school fees is not cheap, all those things are not cheap.
Absolutely.
To keep it going, you understand that you have to go to work.
Yes.
You understand where I'm coming from. So at the end of the day, me going to work because I enjoy doing it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm leaving home every day. But sometimes I'm leaving just because I know that I have to fend for these people who are here. And then during the process of us raising kids, my wife had to step back from work for a while. So I knew that I don't have an option. I have to go all out to make sure I'm looking after not just the kids. I have to make sure that our own needs are also taken care of at the same time. Now, that also led to some issues in the sense that I had to learn when to say no to jobs. because I'm trying to chase this. I'm trying to chase. Chase.
Yeah.
I'm taking everything. And I realize that you go and do a job. You say, this job is going to 2,000. You already plan in your head. You're going to get 2,000 at the end of the month, and then you end up not paying you the 2,000. So you plan for 2,000 in your head. You didn't collect the 2,000, so you're almost 4,000 short because you already spent the 2,000 in your head before you got paid the 2,000. So now you spent 2,000, and now you don't have 2,000, so you are 4,000 short.
Oh my God!
So I've had to learn when to say no. You know, I've had to learn, like, I'm just gonna say it the way it is. I've said one of the decisions I made during this period is any Redeemed church, right, that has a new branch, a new that's opening a new thing, and they employ us to do anything for them. We are not going to work for them unless we get a guarantee from their mother church.
Okay. Yeah.
Signed guarantee for their mother church that if a small church has any issues, but these are things I've had to learn the hard way.
I know.
You understand where I'm coming from? So you realize that it's not smooth sailing as everybody thinks
Yes.
it is.
There's
the good sides.
Yes,
Wow.
and I think it's key. It's super. I'm so grateful that you've mentioned that, because somebody, like you said, could just go and like, what this man is doing just looks like he's just dying with stars, create music, create stuff.
Sorry, I just have to say it. You know,
No.
You understand?
It's
Erotiron. That's
it's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I imagined how this interview will go, but you've just blazed it completely, and it's almost like you're the director you're just directing a classical, and all these things are just coming into play. But at this point, I just want to thank you because we've got 9 more minutes. First of all, I want to thank you for, again, being vulnerable and being very open, because you can easily come and tell us politically correct things and keep it. But I think everyone here will agree with me that you've shared your heart the way you, Aaron, mad respect, sir. So I see you. Thanks for dropping in just before, but and I know Aaron, for people who don't know him, is also another musical powerhouse in the UK, doing great things for God, and has been one of the Jagabans.
If you're looking for a mentor, he's also a good.
Absolutely.
He does a mentorship program and stuff and all.
Absolutely. So you have shot from the hips, because I know when we spoke earlier.
My in-law is online.
So, yeah, well, she's clapping for you, so you're safe. So good. So, I can only say thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being very relatable. Thank you for being very engaging and very practical in the way you've told your story. I couldn't have asked for more. And I know that, guys, what I've also recognized from doing this for however long, not as long as you, because you are a machine, you just went, is that people don't ask too much questions when the story is very engaging. You know, so it's just mad love. All is wow, all of the things you're saying. So mad love in the room for you. Thank you so very much. We also need to shout out to your wife, who is giving you the opportunity to do all of these things you're doing. You know, even though we also know that you are doing it from the heart of, you want to provide and then do what you enjoy to do.
It's not easy, especially in December.
I
have to disappear for like a month.
So I want you to go back to a happy sitting room when you
and
finish.
then no, she's here. She's here with me. She's doing as if she can't hear, but she's got AirPods on. But I don't know if she can hear me. But
we're shouting out.
And she has to tell me, you have to come back. You have to come back for Christmas. You have to come back for Christmas.
So you see. so you know
that it looks like she can't hear, so I'm good.
Yeah, on your own. Now that's. Well, if you go for Christmas, you are totally on your own.
No. I'll come back before.
So we appreciate her for even giving you, because trust me, if she gives you trouble, by the time you get on top of the mixer, you won't even understand what you're mixing. So
straight up.
So she's a very key ingredient to the value you deliver outside. So we celebrate her, and of course your children. We celebrate them because they're also sacrificing, the times that you're not around, but you're also trying to be a father to them and a mentor and all of that, and to the great things. Most especially, I'm so impressed about the fact that you're pulling people up, mentoring, and because you can easily close that door, like, I'm just going to keep learning on my own and you guys go sort yourselves out. So the mentorship you do, I see how guys come around you and stick around you and do jobs around you just to get that, and that's a testament to who you are.
So I'll just love to say that quickly. One of the things when I started teaching, when I was MD at 18 plus and all that, it wasn't as if I was a musical genius or I knew music. But one of the things I learned quickly, and that's why I try and mentor people, is that you train yourself when you're training people.
Yes.
So
True.
anyone out there, you train yourself when you're training people. So if I'm going to come online now, I want to do a presentation to people, I have to go and prepare.
Yes.
So while you're preparing, you're remembering that 1+1 you did 5 years ago that you haven't done anything.
Yes.
So when you're training people, you train yourself. So if you think you're keeping your knowledge in your head, you're keeping your knowledge in your head. Just let some of it go. Look for that one person that you can teach. While you're teaching them, it's just like when you're teaching your kids some maths at home. You realize that there's some things you really have to go and quickly look at YouTube because you can't remember what they.
Let's leave that matter.
So you just realize that when you train people, you train yourself. That's my own policy to it. Absolutely. And it makes you get better at it.
Mr. Dayo, you've been called a lot of things: a sound jagaban, a production manager, extraordinaire, everything. But today, I know that one day you stand before the Queen and you get your deserved due to what you're bringing.
Amen to that.
And I know that one day you will grace the Grammy stage, you grace the Grammys, you grace the big things across the world. But once you're doing that, from we to you, just remember, we just want to add 3-letter words to your name. And it's just called CHH. So from now on, anyone that addresses Dayo is Dayo Oladehin, CHH, which is a certified hustle hero. Hereby confer you. Please, even Madame was addressed you as CHH. I've got 1 minute 50 seconds. So
now tell me that you're adding CHH.
CHH, certified hustle hero. From the Hustle Republic to you, just to show our mad love. Thank you for doing what you do. We're so proud of you. I am.
Thanks for having me. And thank you to everyone who listened in for 2 hours.
Absolutely.
We hope we didn't bore you.
No. Mad love, mad respect.
But I can stay on and tell you my story for the next 2 hours. We never spoke about my project management.
Oh my
level
goodness.
And stuff.
You know what?
So many things.
You know what we're going to do? I think that I will bring you back. Because I think that more than the fact of what you do with sound, there are a whole lot of your qualities that are transferable in terms of your ingredients and what makes you thick. I think that exploring that in the other things you do will also help to tell a more robust story. So I'll be in contact after this, and then I will definitely search you. I don't take the access I have to you for granted. I don't. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having
48 seconds to go. Everybody, thank you for hanging on this past 2 hours. I celebrate every single one of you. Thank you. We'll go again on Sunday, 8 p.m. on Sunday, where we have another person on our Wheels of Steel. This man you see will be coming back. Trust me, I will arrange that. And I'll let you know. Thank you so very much, guys. Check out Romantic Genie. They're on their weekend promo. They sponsored this, and thank you to them. So, on behalf of myself, over and out. Ladies and gentlemen, Hustle Continua, Victoria Sata. Uncle D, thank you so very much, people. I appreciate you. keep winning, keep fighting. We keep going. Please, if there's anyone you know in your